We have another problem here, solved by completing the square. It's already in the right format, right? It's ax squared plus bx is equal to c. And our a is 1, and our b is an even number, so perfect candidate. Let's go ahead and see what we need to add to both sides of the equal sign to complete the square. So it's going to be b over 2 squared, which is going to be negative 24 divided by 2 squared. I'm sorry, not negative. Let's use just 24. So it's going to be 24 divided by 2 squared. So that's going to equal to 12 squared. That equals 144. So we're going to add 144 to both sides of this equal sign. So let's add 144 there, add 144 there, and we'll do x squared minus 24x plus 144 is equal to 100. All right. And so now the left side, is it a perfect square? Is the first term? Yes, it is. Is the last term? Yes, it is. It's 12 times 12. Is the center 2 times a times b? It's 2 times x times 12 is 24x. Yes, it is. So our a is equal to x, our b is equal to 12, and our center term is equal to 2 times a times b. So we're good. So we can go ahead and factor. So it's going to be x, and here we're going to put a minus, right, because our second center term is negative. Minus 12 squared is equal to 100. Oh, so this is going to be an easy problem because the right side is a perfect square as well. Let's go ahead and take the square root of both sides. So we'll be left with x minus 12 is equal to 10. We're going to add 12 to both sides, and we'll get x is equal to 22. All right. So over here, nice and easy. X is equal to 22. No square roots left over. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at this one too then. We have this problem, and we're going to solve by completing the square. Okay. So our a is not 1, right? So this is going to be a little bit different. But we need to start by getting it into the form, what is it? Ax squared plus bx equals c. Okay, so we need the constant on the other side of the equal sign. So we will do that by adding 3 to both sides. And it says here to round the final answer to the nearest tenth. So I'm going to use a calculator in this case to make sure there's no square root signs when we're finished. So we'll start out by adding 3 to both sides. And we'll have 3x squared minus 9x is equal to 24. Right. And now we need to figure out what do we need to add to both sides. Ooh, no. Actually, what we need to do first is factor out the greatest common factor. Yeah, we do want the x squared to have a coefficient of a 1. Right? And so you can see here that we can factor out a 3 from the left side of the equal sign. So let's do that. 3 parentheses. That leaves us with x squared minus 3x is equal to 24. Okay, we can further simplify this actually by dividing both sides of the equal sign by 3. Right? Let's go ahead and do that too. Divide by 3. So 3 divided by 3, that's going to cancel out. Right? That's leaving us with just x squared minus 3x is equal to 8. All right, so this looks like a problem like that we're more comfortable with. Right? Our a is a 1. And our b is not an even number, but still manageable, right? So what do we need to do is figure out what to add to both sides of the equal sign. So let's go ahead and do that over here. It's going to be b divided by 2 squared. And so our b is 3. So it's going to be 3 divided by 2 squared. It's going to equal to 9 over 4. So that's going to equal to 2 and 1/4, right? 2.25. Maybe we could leave it as 9 over 4. That's easier to deal with. So let's add 9 over 4 to both sides. So then it's going to be x squared. I'm just going to put a little box around that. Keep it separate from the rest of my work. Minus 3x plus 9 over 4 is equal to, and 9 over 4 is 2 and 1/4. So if we add these two, it's going to become 10 and 1/4, right? So 10 and 1/4, maybe I could put there. All right. So now, how do we complete this square? Well, is the first term a perfect square? Yes, it is, right? So our a is equal to x. Is the last term a perfect square? Yes, it is. It doesn't look like it, but it is. b is equal to 3 over 2. Right? Our numerator is a perfect square. Our denominator is a perfect square. So that means the fraction is a perfect square. So it's 3 over 2. 3 is the square root of 9. 2 is the square root of 4. And if we multiply b times b, it's going to be 9 over 4. Right? So 9 over 4 is a perfect square. It's 3 over 2 times 3 over 2. And so now the question is the center term 2 times a times b? So 2 times b is going to be 6 over 2. 6 over 2 is 3, so 3 times x is 3x. Yes, it is. So here we have a perfect square. There we go. So now we can go ahead and write them out as factors. So it's going to be x minus, since our center term is a negative number, it's going to be minus 3 over 2 squared is equal to 10.25. Let's do 10.25 instead of 10 and 1/4. Okay. So now what? I want to take the square root of both sides. Right? Square root of both sides. So that leaves me with the x minus 3 over 2 on the left side is equal to the square root of 10.25. And finally, to solve for x, I gotta add 3 over 2 to both sides. So what I have is x is equal to 3 over 2 plus the square root of 10.25. All right, so now it does say here to round the final answer to the nearest tenth. Okay, so let's go ahead and come over to our Google calculator. And how is this going to look? Okay, so we have 3 divided by 2, parentheses, plus square root 10.25, parentheses. Do I have a plus here somewhere? No, I don't have the plus. Plus, okay, parentheses, square root 10.25, parentheses. Okay, so there we go. So we're supposed to round to the nearest tenth. So that's going to be x is equal to 4.7. All right, so x is equal to 4.7. And so I'm going to say here x is equal to 4.7. That's my final answer.